Hello everybody and welcome back. This is Miranda's Crafter and I wanted to bring to you today the results of the new community creature winner for the center map. This was decided yesterday, or it was announced yesterday rather, on the community crunch number 376. Let's get into it. I'm really thrilled about this because I actually like this one. Some people said that they didn't really like the Shastasaurus, but I like it personally because I see a lot of fun things, the possibilities you can do with it in the future. The community made ARK history this week by crowning the first ever aquatic creature of the community creature vote. And then it just tells us keep reading to find out what creature will be in its new home in the vast oceans of the ARK Survival Ascended Center. So I guess the first time we're going to be able to see and play with this creature is going to be on the remastered center map for ARK Survival Ascended. With over 39,000 votes, the Shastasaurus will be the new creature added to the center for ARK Survival Ascended. We're looking forward to sharing its dossier in the weeks to come. And then you can see a breakdown of how the voting happened. It says, see it right here. Let's scroll through this and I'll show you. Right here you can kind of see round 1 of 9 how it was going. The Shastasaurus was definitely in the lead pretty much throughout the whole process. Next underneath it was the hermit crab, which was also really cool. But yeah, the Shastasaurus just outshined everything else from the beginning. I could tell that this dude was going to be the one from the very start pretty much. I guess this guy right here is the one that submitted it, so props to him for such a cool design and idea. Really thankful that he did this because this is something that I really like. You can see here the size of a person as in compared to the size of the actual dinosaur with its saddle and then without. Wow. Very cool. It's very big. So it's on the order of the lead Sithis. I think it's actually bigger than the lead Sithis based on this size comparison right here. And as you can see, you have an unsaddled version and then you have a saddled version, and you can see inside the saddle the dinos being transported, and yeah, it just looks really neat. I love playing in the oceans on ARK. I've always found myself gravitating towards trying to find a way to make a base under the ocean. I've tried everything. I've done the mosasaur platform bases, the plesiosaur platform bases, and while those were fun, they were kind of janky at the time because a lot of times you'd get hung up on the terrain and drag what was on your saddle off of it, and it was a real big pain in the butt. But it was neat, you know. This is going to be really cool too, I think, and I'm really excited to play with it. On the servers that I'm going to run, I'm going to find a way to spawn this thing in on all of them so that it's available for people to play, not just on the center, but on probably the island is what I'm going to start off with for my server that I'm going to be playing on. It's going to be a heavily modded server. It's going to have lots of fun things to do, and this dude is going to be on there for sure because it's just got too much utility and too much fun to not have on there. So it's a species Shastasaurus sicaniensis. Yeah, I don't know. Diet, it's a carnivore, so it's going to be eating meat. Temperament, passive. Let's look into reading a little bit about this thing because this thing is just too neat. I want to kind of go over some of the things that it can do and kind of talk about some of its utility. And once again, I'm guessing because we haven't got to play with this thing yet, so we don't really know. But based on what they're saying here, as it's wild, the Shastasaurus is one of the largest ocean dwellers I've ever witnessed on any of the ARKs, rivaling the lead Sithis in terms of sheer mass and being too large for even the mighty Tusoteuthis to grab. So the squid can't even grab this thing because it's so big. Rivaling the size of the lead Sithis. The lead Sithis is the biggest thing in the ocean as it is right now, but it's just kind of meh because it don't really do anything other than just harass your boats and give you some prime meat if you scrape it, which is not really very useful because you can get that anywhere. But yeah, Yeah, pretty big dino. However, despite its titanic size, it is incredibly passive, mostly ignoring all other creatures in its vicinity, as a very few are a threat to it, with only really focusing on smaller schools of fish which it feeds on. If a threat does arrive, such as a group of mosasaurs, I guess it would have to take a group of them to probably take this thing down, even though mosasaurs are pretty powerful. Or a Leadsithus, I guess that means they're hostile to Leadsithus. It has the special ability of echolocation, and it is able to detect the threat coming from a mile away. That's insane. Just that right there is neat, because will that help you locate certain dinos you're looking for? Like if you're looking for a high-level mosasaur or plesiosaur, will you be able to use this echolocation, or a shark? Will you be able to use this echolocation to find a high-level megalodon? Will it show the level, or will it just show the outline of the creature? I don't know, but that seems like that could be very useful, especially if you're looking for certain things. Like if you're looking for a squid out there and you're trying to find you a good one, maybe this will help you find them. Those are kind of hard to find sometimes. And is able to detect the threat coming from a mile away. I don't know how that translates into arc play, but a mile away sounds like a severe distance. So yeah, that's way out of a creature's aggro range. So if you do find it, you don't have to worry about the stuff you're looking for aggroing you as soon as you find it, because it's obvious it's way too far away. Not just that, but its echolocation is so powerful that it can charge a large sonic blast, with it being able to disorient nearly any hostile, allowing the creature to make a quick getaway. Now, I don't know how quick this thing is going to be, but if it has the sprint ability like all other dinos do, then that's, pretty cool. You can stun stuff and then get away in case you're getting yourself in trouble, getting ganged up on or something. Also, much like its close relative, the Ichthyosaurus is a very special animal, and it lives in a tight family unit. However, due to the sheer size of the Shasta's appetite, each member requires an enormous quantity of food, and as a result, the family units must separate to try and find food on their own to avoid competing for food resources. That's kind of cool. So I guess that means you won't find them in groups usually. You'll find them separate. I don't know. And as a result, the family units must separate to try to find food to avoid competing for food sources. Sadly, due to this, the family units splitting up to feed many Shastas will never reunite with them and will become incredibly isolated as a result. So I guess that means when you run onto them, you're going to find them individually. The domesticated version, as most Shastas have become isolated and alone due to separating from their families, all it requires to domesticate or tame is simple companionship. The best way I have found to do this is with its close relative, the Ichthyosaurus, which is the dolphin. Simply bring a group of them over, and the two species will begin to interact with the Shastasaurus, eventually joining the group and therefore your tribe. Okay, cool. So maybe there's a new kind of taming mechanic involved where you just kind of have to bring them together and let them play, and then hopefully it becomes your friend. That's cool. I'm not always a fan of, not having to knock out tame everything. I mean, surely we could come up with some different mechanics, so that's cool. Once tamed, the Shastasaurus makes for an incredible beast of burden, able to carry an insane amount of weight. Due to this, a lot of survivors have constructed a special saddle on the back of the creature. This saddle is essentially a submarine, as anyone inside it is able to breathe and survive the intense pressure of the deep ocean. The saddle, and okay, let me stop right there. That is so cool. I love exploring under the ocean. I love trying to make bases under the ocean. I love taming stuff in the ocean. And this seems like a very useful companion for all those things. A mobile base, sort of, that is so sick. For me, mobile bases are so enticing. I have always loved the prospect of having a mobile base on a Quetzal on a Bronto, on a Mosasaur. All those things have always been really interesting to me, and I've always liked to try to make those work. The best one for me so far was the Quetzal. I had the most fun with the mobile Quetzal base because it was just too fun to be able to fly around and go wherever I wanted and take all my junk with me and all my dinos and stuff. So yeah, this sounds really cool. I can see myself being immersed under the water a lot more now due to this dinosaur. And I think this is one of the coolest things about it, because this will cause people to stay under the water more, because a lot of people don't really explore the oceans in Ark because they're afraid, because they lose their stuff too easy, because they can't, they get attacked and they can't see what's coming, and it's just a scary experience. But maybe this will just kind of help alleviate that and help them have more fun under the water. And I'm all about more fun in Ark for sure. The saddle also comes equipped with torpedoes. What? Saddle also comes equipped with torpedoes. Oh my, that sounds fun. They're essential for any underwater combat as they deal heavy explosive damage. Okay. That sounds cool right there. Just that right there gives this thing so much utility. Can you imagine attacking someone's water base with this, or just blowing up everything in sight? Yeah, that sounds too cool. That's not even the best part of the saddle. When the Shastasaurus surfaces above the water, the saddle will transform and essentially turn the Shastasaurus into a whaling ship, coming equipped with harpoon launchers. These harpoons come equipped with metal wiring that is attached to each harpoon. Once fired at a creature, it prevents them from moving, allowing survivors to easily catch creatures. Oh, wow, this just gets better and better. This is so cool sounding. Another thing that I love to do in Ark is make ship bases that I can, sail around and have my base be mobile on a ship. So that sounds really cool. I really hope we can build on this thing's saddle. That would make this completely over the top. So some abilities and features. When underwater, the saddle acts as a submarine. Survivors will not lose oxygen and would be able to build in it. Oh, there you go, right there. Will be able to build in it. Oh, sweet. This is so cool. I cannot wait to get my hands on this thing. Saddle fires torpedoes. These are underwater specific projectiles, so I guess there won't be no shooting them out of the water up into the air like a mobile attack sub in today's world, where you can fire up on land hundreds of miles away from your ocean vantage point. I don't know. We'll have to see that. That would be kind of OP, I think. Specific projectiles that deal heavy explosive damage upon impact, and they can only be crafted in the inventory of the Shasta, similar to the Equus. Okay, cool. So I guess their inventory, they're saying here their inventory has some kind of crafting bench. So yeah, that's neat. I always like the crafting bench saddle dinos, like the Equus and the one thing that's in Scorched Earth. I can't think of the name of it right offhand. Whatever. When the Shasta surfaces, the saddle transforms into a whaling ship where the submarine dome disappears and opens up to reveal harpoon guns. These guns are manned turrets that come equipped with metal wiring. Fired at an enemy creature, it prevents them from moving and essentially binds them. This can also be done on enemy players. Oh, cool. And land creatures. So I guess you could sail up close to the land and then harpoon a Giga or a Rex or something maybe. And yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that'll have a size requirement as far as, you can only harpoon stuff this size or smaller or whatever. I don't know. That'd be interesting to see. That could be a very useful tactic as well. And if a creature is small enough, you are able to reel them in closer, and even larger creatures can be reeled in if enough harpoon guns are fired on it. Wow, this sounds so much fun. However, the guns have their weaknesses to compensate. Firstly, a creature or enemy player can break out of the harpoon if they struggle enough, similar to the Desmodus or the Bloodstalker, and then kind of like the net too, probably like you can chop a net with a hatchet. And the harpoon turrets have a durability meter, and after a while will require repairs. Okay, that's cool. Put some limitations on them. We don't want this thing to be too OP, even though I secretly think it is pretty OP already from what I've seen just already. Saddles also come equipped with a submarine scope, allowing you to view the surface of the water while submerged. It also acts as a magnifying glass and shows the current health and torpidity of a creature. Okay, man. This thing has so many features. Almost way more powerful than, any of your old dinos that you're used to using that just do one thing, gather honey, woohoo, type of thing. Cannot be grabbed to a Tuso due to its sheer size. Okay, that makes sense. It's probably bigger than the squid, so I really wouldn't see a squid being able to handle one of these things. As echolocation, this essentially gives the Shasta a built-in submarine radar, allowing it to detect any hostile creatures or players in the immediate area and highlights everything nearby. That's really cool right there. Or players. Yeah, that could be seriously handy trying to find people that are sneaking around and hiding from you and stuff. Can charge. Okay, so they're basically just going over the features again, but we'll look at it. We'll look at it still because this thing is just too interesting. Can charge up a sonic blast with its echolocation. When fired, it disorients enemies, essentially acting as a flashbang grenade and enabling the Shasta to make an escape. So there's more detail about how that works. If the fight looks to be unwinnable, this blast can also disable tech structures or gear, including tech underwater bases. Okay, so sneak in, disable tech turrets. Wow, okay. It's very efficient at gathering oil from underwater oil veins and gathers black pearls effectively from euryptids and other creatures that drop them. Okay, cool. That's cool. It can gather stuff too. I wonder where it will come out on the Dodedex ranking as far as, best dino to gather oil type of thing. Right now, I think that's the, I don't know if it's the Dunkleosaurus, because I know Dunkleo does metal very well under the water, but I don't know about oil. But anyway, saddle is similar to the Andrewsarchus saddle, as it doesn't require anything to power it, and it will produce oxygen in the submarine mode for no cost. Shastasaurus can use its massive tail to create a large whirlpool in the water. These can trap enemies in them for short periods of time and disorient them. Okay, that can be handy for things like the jellyfish, eels. I could see that being useful, to get yourself out of a mess with those, because I don't know if those will be able to shock this thing or not, but those can get really ugly if you get caught up in those. So this ability might be nice to be able to get rid of those. Can use a type of suction feeding to suck smaller creatures into its beak and grip hold of them. So it obviously sounds like it can carry things. If swarmed, the Shasta can fire off a sonar pulse. This will be a concussive weapon of sound coming off the Shasta that will push all enemies back when the Shasta is being swarmed. Can only be tamed by bringing a bunch of tame dolphins or other Shastasaurus as well. Okay, cool. And putting them on wander near it will cause this wild Shasta to interact with those tames and slowly begin to integrate into your tribe. However, if one of its companions or the Shasta itself is hurt in the taming effectiveness, it will decrease, and if one of them is killed, the Shasta will no longer be tameable. And if the player attacks one of the Shasta's companions, the Shasta itself or the whole group will become hostile to the player. Okay, so that's cool. So these are the features as listed by this person right here. I don't know if Wildcard will take every single one of these features into account when they're making the dossier for this dino. We'll see that soon. They promised the dossier is coming soon. But yeah, what do you think about this thing? I mean, just the utility involved that this thing has is amazing. I mean, it looks like it can haul dinos. It can haul tons of stuff. You can build in it. You basically got an underwater mobile base with a lot of neat features like the echolocation and the sonar strikes and the torpedoes and the tail bash and whatever else, Just the sheer size of this thing makes it fun looking, because it looks like you can kind of do quite a bit of stuff in there. I mean, there's a Therizino and a Pterodon standing there, and you've still got a lot of room. Based on the size of the person right there alone, you can see that, you know, what 50 to 100 people in there is worth of room, and still more room to build stuff in and all that. Yeah, this thing looks super cool, and I'm really glad it won. This was my favorite pick. The Shastasaurus, giant marine reptile leviathan with submarine saddle. So yeah, I'm glad this thing won, and I cannot wait to play with this thing. I didn't realize I could do that, or I would have done that sooner. Sorry. But yeah, look at that. That is so cool. That looks to be a person there standing at the periscope. I guess this is the periscope, maybe. Maybe it goes up to the surface of the water. I don't know. But this is so cool, man. I love this thing. Zoom in just a little bit more. Yeah, I cannot wait. Looks like stairs and a platform. Yeah, so you look like you can kind of run around inside there and do some stuff. It looks like some structures built in there. I'm sure you could probably put a bed, you know, so you could spawn in here on this thing, and some vaults and all kinds of stuff. Yes, I know that, you know, the cryopods kind of make dino transfer kind of worthless because of cryopods, but you know, there is a possibility that when Ark Survival Ascended launches that we won't have cryopods, because that's a tech item that's kind of advanced, and we're kind of going back to square one with the beginning with the island and Scorched Earth, and I'm not really sure when the center map will release, but yeah, we could possibly not have cryopods, so that could make this very interesting and very appealing. Why wouldn't you want to put your dinos in this thing, and if you needed to get them from one side of the map to the other that was conveniently connected by water, then instead of running them across the map, you know, on foot and taking the chance of, you know, losing them or getting killed or something like that, you could take a safe little trip under the water, just like Gilligan and his crew, I guess, and, you know, keep them safe and transfer them that way. In the absence of cryopods, this makes this dino very, very interesting. I just seen this right here. I wonder if maybe that's its little torpedo pod bay where it shoots its torpedoes out of or something. So sick. This thing is sick. I love this thing. Okay, well, thank you for being here on my video today. I think this video has already went way longer than I intended it to. I started with the idea of this being a 10-minute video. Yeah, I had way too much to say about the Shastasaurus, so sorry about that. But I appreciate your time, and thank you for joining me today. And if you would, please drop me a like and a subscribe if this content was interesting to you. I'm trying my best to give you food for thought on Ark, and you know, based on my experience from the past, I think I got a lot of offers, so honor my commitment to try to bring you some neat content by giving me a like and a subscribe, so that my content can be, you know, pushed out to the masses a little bit more, and so that I can get more interaction in my comments and hopefully on the servers that I plan to run whenever we go live. So I'll be putting out a video about that in the future, about the things that I plan to offer on the servers and why I think you should play on those. But for right now, today was all about the Shastasaurus. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate your time. I'll catch you later.